Welcome to our Ellie.Talks on a fashion topic today. So I'm Julie Littard. I'm the founder of Ariadne Innovation. I'm very interested in the topic of today. Maybe as a brief introduction of the Ellie.Talks, with our digital platform Ellie.Connect, we aim to inspire, inform, and connect people all over the textile and fashion value chain concerning the very important topic today of sustainable fashion. And we briefly want to inspire you by inviting experts to our talks to talk about what they're passionate about and what their business is about. So very happy today to invite Ellen Kegels to talk about the topic of slow fashion and the pre-ordering model. Something that's very interesting, also very future-proof. That's my personal opinion. But that also needs, the whole storytelling behind it to get it launched. So before I introduce Ellen, I want to engage as well the audience today to let us know via a short note in the chats if you hear the topic of slow fashion. What does it mean for you? Does it ring a bell? Does it sound familiar? Of course, it sounds as the contrast of fast fashion that we all know. But what specifically does slow fashion mean for you? You can just drop a short note in the chat, and then I will give the word to Ellen Kegels to introduce herself. So shoot, and then we can have a brief discussion about it after the introduction. So with further ado, Ellen, I'm very happy that you are here today. Ellen Kegels, you are the founder of a sustainable fashion brand, Belgian fashion brand. So I'm very intrigued by your beautiful products already. So I'm very curious about the story behind them as well. So Ellen, I'll give you the floor to share some insights about how your business got started and is doing right now, and to introduce us into the concept of slow fashion as well.
Yes, thank you so much, Julie, and nice of all of you to be here today. I'm very honored to be invited by you, Julie, to talk about what we do at Ellie.Knits, what we have been doing for the past decade already. I made a small presentation, it's just a small one, to help you know a bit more about the company, our values, etc. And then later on, I will have a chat with Julie more about what slow fashion at Ellie.Knits is all about, and how we are working with a pre-ordering system that for us is very important for our zero waste policy at the company. So my name is Ellen Kegels. I'm almost 35 years old. I started at the age of 15, so quite a while already, feeling quite old now. But you can tell, or you can say, that Ellie.Knits truly is a part of myself since I was just a teenager. But so the brand name, Ellen.Knits. So Ellen, it's short for Ellen, my name, and knits stands for knitwear, since knitwear is the core of our business, and I've always been a very big fan of everything that is knitted, and that since I was just only a kid. What do we stand for? We stand for luxury baby alpaca knitwear, a knitwear that is made by hand in Peru. We do honest work to over 350 meters in the Andes. We have different suppliers, but our main supplier is Solid International, which is a Belgian non-profit organization who we work with very closely. And they're the ones with whom we try to create as much extra benefits that we can for the knitters that actually knit our pieces by hand or on the hand knitting machine. So looking good by doing good. We work with beautiful, natural, fair and handmade materials. And it's important for us that our collections are always are timeless in that case. So it will never be out of fashion, true basics that last a lifetime. If we go to the second slide of the presentation, just in general, what we offer at Ellie.Knits, we're mainly a collection, or we target mainly to women. Despite that, we also have some scarves and some beanies that we also create for our men. We used to have a collection for men, but apparently baby alpaca is too hot for our men. They can't wear it since it's just too warm, I've noticed. So that's why I decided to focus more on just women knitwear. We also have knits for kids, since I'm also a mother of two. As you can see, all the clutter I have in my living room. But I also find it important for my kids to wear the soft and human, delicate and timeless knits for them also. Our do-it-yourself community, I've written 4 or 5 books already, and there's a 6th one in the making. And these are do-it-yourself knitting and crocheting books. Why have we created these? This is also from our zero waste policy, meaning that if we design a collection, we always have to order a certain amount of yarn. And for us, it's important that after every collection, all the leftovers of that collection are gone, that we have created them into something else. And for us, the yarn that we don't need ourselves anymore to create new collections, we have it made into do-it-yourself knitting balls. And so together with the patterns that we sell or online, just the pattern itself, an e-document, or the books that we've written, the creative souls can start knitting their own Ellie.Knits. And in that case, we make sure we have no leftovers at our warehouse in Peru. And we also have a homeware and lifestyle part of the brand, and this is where we have our plates, but also our cushions. Our cushions are also a part of our zero waste policy, meaning our cushion pillovers are actually made from fabrics, from pieces of knitwear that actually our beginner knitters use, but are not good enough to sell for production. And we actually create or use these pieces to have like a very cute pillow. So all made out of leftover knitted pieces. If we go to the next slide, our company values. So meaning Ellie.Knits from the very beginning, for me, it was very important that I created some kind of pillars that is used for the company to lean on. And it's also something that with every decision I make today, but also for the future, which is needed to make sure that the company stays safe. First of all, we're human, so meaning all the knits that we create are made by hands in Peru. So there is not a single piece of knit that just comes out of a machine. Everything goes through the hands in Peru. We do so much more than just creating an honest working environment. We also make sure that the women, when they come to our ateliers to knit, that a lot of them are actually young mothers, that they can take their children with them. Since together with our supplier, Solid International, we also created childcare. So the mothers are sure that when they go to work, that their children are in a safe environment. Sustainable, meaning we try to work with sustainable fabrics as much as possible. The alpaca that we use is also certified. It's from the responsible alpaca standards. Honest, meaning we give an honest income to our knitters and we make sure that the way we work is as transparent as possible. And natural, we work with natural fibers, such as the baby alpaca we work with is for 82% baby alpaca. We add another 18% of polyamide just to retain its strength. But for us, working with materials that are comfortable to wear, that you can wear on top of your bare skin, are also very important. And authentic, we stay true to our values, to who we are, to what we stand for the past decades. Also, as a young entrepreneur, using personal branding as a form of recognizable communication to our clients, to know that they're dealing with an honest company that they can actually reach out to on a personal note. And then if we go to the next slide. So as Julie said already, we are very, very slow fashion, meaning we start about a year in advance by designing the collection, and it takes over 365 days from that moment on until the collection is actually to be found in store or online on our web shop, which is very slow, but it's also because we work with knitwear. Knitwear is, I think, the most difficult piece of clothing that you can launch on the market, since it lives, it has its own way of moving. And this one, knitwear, is made in our case by hand. So it's important that all the knitters that work for us, that they know exactly how to make the perfect knit, since of course we also have these standards they need to knit up to. And then the last slide so far is about our zero waste policy, as I talked to you briefly about before. Just how we try to limit the surplus of yarn by reusing our basic colors on the one hand. So everything black, white, oatmeal will never be on sale. And besides that, we also have the do-it-yourself collection. For us, that is important to use our surplus yarn. And besides that, I think the general that most companies that try to be sustainable are doing is using as less polluting extras regarding biodegradable plastic, reusing boxes, etc. So also in the details, we try and do our utter best. So far a small introduction, and now I'm looking forward to the full interview with Julie.
Ellen, very inspiring indeed. I think we felt a connection there as well. I also have a little daughter. I actually have two, one also called Lily. And this is something I always say, that we are doing this for the next generations, for our daughters as well, to invest in the sustainable future of our beautiful industry. And I love Peru, by the way. It's one of my favorite travel locations. So very nice to hear from you as well. I would invite everyone to have a look on www.Ellie.Connect as well, because there's a lot more inspiring stories there as well that are linked to the topic, for instance, as well, of fashion on demand. But now I would like to zoom in a little bit deeper about the topic of slow fashion, because it's really a topic that you hear a lot in the news. People talk about it. So I would like to understand, you already touched upon it in your presentation, Ellen, but let's first check what the audience hears or thinks when they hear the topic of slow fashion. So first, before we let the expert talk, let's have a look in the audience as well. So I'm reading the comments right now. Eveline Lafont, yeah, it sounds good, of course, very enthusiastic, nice to hear. Then I see from Francois, not throw away fashion. Maud mentions fashion that lasts, also the longevity of the products. And Ellen Hevert speaks about slow fashion being timeless fashion pieces made in a sustainable way. Ellen, I don't know what you think, if you agree with these comments, or can you maybe reflect in a broader sense, what is slow fashion for you? What is the meaning for this? Can you agree with what was mentioned in the chat as well?
Yeah, of course. So on the one hand, for me, slow fashion is about the production itself. Since we work with knitters, with humans, for us, we take our time to teach them how to knit the exact pieces that we want to see for our next collection. So we try to work with as less pressure as possible. So we also work with women in Peru, so it's not nearby. So for us, it's important that we can consolidate certain shipments to make sure that we're not shipping to Peru back and front for just, I don't know, one or two pieces. So we try to consolidate with other shipments. And so that also takes time. Sometimes we wait an extra 2 weeks before we ship a new sample to see then that we just have these crazy deadlines we need to work up to. So that's one part. So it's just designing a knitwear collection goes very slowly. So it's completely different than when you design a collection of wovens. For example, we are now at Ellen.Knits evolving a bit. We're looking at the future and seeing how, besides knitwear, in terms of in times of global warming, how in summer can we also launch something that is sustainable, that is that lasts a lifetime, but that is made out of something that is not knitwear, and where can we produce it fairly, and can we launch a product that is as clean as possible. And there I've noticed that timings for other products such as wovens, which means just a nice linen blouse, for example, or a cotton dress, they have a completely different cycle of designing, and they have completely different deadlines, which I've noticed. But we're slow, we take our time. But besides that, as the other guests have also announced, is for us, when you buy an Ellen.Knits, it's a piece that lasts for a lifetime. It's a piece that you need to respect. You need to treat it in some certain way to make sure that it stays nicely as long as possible. It's something that you care about. So we also offer, for example, at our company where we are based in Braschaat in Antwerp, we offer the service where you can actually send in your knits for free, and we steam them for you in our personal kind of dry cleaning, steaming closet. And we also sell different extra products such as little shavers and hand steamers that you can use just to make sure that your beautiful Ellen.Knits stays pretty as long as possible. And besides that, also our designs are just timeless. It's not that we design some kind of knit that is made out of crazy colors and has a very fashionable shape that is only cool for one season. No, that is not what we aim for. We aim for timeless classics that you can combine with your other, hopefully sustainable wardrobe pieces, so you can always have a nicely made look with, of course, the warmth and the comfort that an Ellen.Knits has to offer.
Yes, thank you. I mean, I was wondering, I think I read from your story that Ellen.Knits really started as well as a sustainable brand from the start. Was it a difficult choice for you to make, or was it really there's no choice to make there? It's so evident that I should start a slow fashion brand, or how did that evolve?
Well, it started, as I said, at the age of 15, where I was just making beanies, knitting beanies, or crocheting beanies actually by hand, as some kind of a student job. And in the very beginning, I was making everything myself, which is, I think, the definition of slow. It cannot go any slower. But during my studies, I kept on crocheting beanies and selling beanies, and I started noticing that the demand was a lot higher than I could actually produce myself. So at first, I started looking for a team of grannies in my neighborhood to help me knit. since back then I was already graduated and I was working in the advertising scene. So I had a full-time job, which was impossible to combine with knitting 6 beanies in the evening. But so I started to create some kind of production here locally, but it wasn't very, it wasn't sustainable, meaning it was impossible to create such a knitting force here in Belgium. And therefore, my dream was always and has always been to actually work with baby alpaca and to work with a local village high in the Andes. And I remember coming back from London, where I was working as a graduate in TBWA, like a big advertising company. And I remember going back and thinking by myself, how can I create this dream with no connections in fashion or whatsoever? So my mother is a stay-at-home mom. She has 6 children, and my dad is in insurance. And otherwise, my grandfather is in the banking. So there's it was for me, very little help to find regarding how can I produce my beanies and scarves in Peru? Where do I start? But I do believe in following your gut feeling, and that everything happens for a reason. And then I met Lynn Verelst, so the founder of, the daughter of the founder of Solid International. And she just launched in Peru, in Ayacucho, she launched some kind of atelier where she was working with teenage mothers. She created actually a shelter for them to be safe with their children or being heavily pregnant. And she was looking for other small Belgian-based brands who could or might launch a small part of their production at the atelier of the shelter of the women in Peru. And so we went for a coffee, and from then on, we started working together. It started off with, I think, 15 ladies and young women who knitted my beanies and scarves in the beginning for only a couple of weeks a year. And now we count over 350 who are knitting literally day in, day out, every day of the year. Since we try also from a slow fashion point of view, we try to divide our production throughout the year. For example, we have a launch of the women's collection. Then a few weeks later, we have the launch of the kids collection. Then we launch the home collection. Then we have the wholesale collection that has to be produced for the next collection that is to come. And so we try for a whole year round to create as much work for knitters as possible. But that is how it started back in the days. And in 2011, I decided to take the plunge and become a full-time independent with a slow fashion and fair fashion label, Ellen.Knits, which knew a crazy growth in the beginning. It was insane if I look back at those early days while doing everything myself and the amounts of knitwear that our knitters were producing. But now today, almost 11 years later, we're here to stay, and we have a healthy company that's still true and to our values, and which is also known in Belgium as one of the earlier slow fashion and fair fashion knitwear labels, and we're very proud of that.
And you can be. It's very inspiring. I love the entrepreneurship that is behind. Definitely, you know, the aspect about serendipity, meetings you have with people who have the same values and that help you build your business. So that's always a great story to share as well. So you talked a little bit about the struggles as well in the beginning, about the scaling of the business as well. And what I wanted to zoom in also a little bit into is into this model of pre-ordering.
Mm-hmm.
This is something you don't hear that often with big fashion brands. I know some of them are experimenting with this, but can you maybe also explain what is the pre-ordering model that Ellen.It is following, and share some insights about that, or some tips to implement it?
Yes, definitely. So regarding how we work, so we sell to wholesale clients. We have our own web shop, and we also used to have a permanent store in Antwerp, but we closed that down, and now we are working with temporary stores, such as pop-up stores. But as said before, when we launch a collection, when we start designing a collection, everything goes very slowly. When we, for example, order in the yarn that we need to create our production, it takes between 2 and 3 months to actually just only create the yarn. From there on, since we don't work with stock service, we have our own signature yarn that we work with. We always, besides the essential colors that stay in the collection, we also design new colors. So it takes a long time for us to actually order the yarn, dye the yarn. But since we always order a little bit extra because we know we need to keep our knitting clients, our do-it-yourselfers happy as well, we always order a little bit extra just as a backup to see when we start launching the collection on how certain pieces actually evolve. Because we've noticed throughout the years, a very big difference between what the wholesale client wants to buy and what our own direct sale client wants to buy. It's the complete opposite. We have the idea that the wholesale clients are very, how do I say it? They try to be very careful. So they especially go for the neutrals and the basic models and the basic colors, and which is fine for us because these are pieces that our knitters are actually knitting all year round. But then when we want to place our own order, it's difficult to know what is going to work and what isn't, since the shops, they buy in so differently than we do. And since we do not want 80% of what we order to be sold on a stock sale or on sale, we do not want that at all. So that's why we always buy in very carefully, and we just have a look around what the first week, 2 weeks actually says. And it's always very surprisingly on how certain models are just the bestseller in no time and are also sold out in no time. Meaning for us, then we know, okay, apparently with the summer collection that we just launched, we have this beautiful lilac color. The stores, they didn't want to know about this color, but for us, it was sold out in 2 days. Meaning, oh, wow, this lilac is doing a lot better than we expected. Okay, this is the piece. We need to make sure we order in more deeply. And then when we do so, and the piece is sold out on our web shop, we create a pre-ordering system online where our very loyal clients can actually do a full 100% deposit of the piece that they are pre-ordering to make sure that they will have their piece when it actually comes back in stock between the 2.5 to 3 months later. But they're willing to do the wait. That's something that we've truly noticed. It's as if they're actually longing even more for it, knowing that they have to wait for it and they will be one of the first to have this redelivery. They're looking forward to it. They're getting excited. It's really a part of the movement and of the feeling that Ellen.It wants to create. And that is how we have always worked. But when the pandemic actually occurred for us, we had extreme delays in Peru, meaning it didn't take us 3 months to produce the yarn. It took us 6 months, which actually interrupted our entire ordering system. And so we were forced to actually launch in August with only pre-orders. There was nothing besides a few essentials that we still have in stock, that we will always have in stock. It was impossible for the client to actually order something and have it delivered a few days later. But we communicated very clearly about it, saying that, okay, look, the factories in Peru, they were closed for months. Our knitters, they are forced to actually knit at home since they cannot knit together in the atelier no longer. which takes us more time to actually do the quality control, etc., etc. So we were very scared in August back then in 2021 when we were launching the new collection. But it went crazy. People were ordering as if it was just a standard delivery. And for us, that made us think again about the entire pre-ordering system, and that it's really going to be something that we're going to do more in the future. But we want to do at Ellen some reorganizations for the next 2 years to actually create a business model that is even more sustainable, that can actually work even more with this pre-ordering system, and where we can actually bring the sustainable and slow fashion even closer to the end consumer. And we're thinking about that just because of these, not only the irritation of how wholesale clients buy the collection and how they react to it, but also how the wholesale just wants higher and higher margins. And for us as a slow fashion label, there's an end to it. For us, it's impossible to keep on rising our end prices just because of the margins for the shops that are in between, that are actually asking for more and more. And in that way, for us, we do not want to give less to our knitters. So it's a balance, and it's something we need to think about very deeply, just to see how can we still be a slow fashion and fair fashion brand that we want to be, that we want to stay, and how we can keep both parties happy. Or are we going to evolve to another way of running a fair fashion and slow fashion company? But those are some aspects that I'm truly thinking about, and it's actually thanks to COVID that we're taking decisions that I've never thought I would have taken ever, such as closing down our permanent store. Best decision ever. Our online business grew with 400%. And we're not doing even a lot. There's still so much to learn in the online business for us, despite that we're active on Instagram and we have a nice web shop and we write good newsletters, but there's so much more within marketing automation, within collaborations with other companies, with other labels that we believe in. So I feel that there is a very interesting future ahead.
Yes, very good to hear. Never waste a good crisis, they say.
Yeah,
telling someone that just started Ariadne as well during the pandemic as well. So I can relate to that, but it's a very interesting story. I read as well that actually, although it was not necessarily driven by sustainability, this pre-ordering model, that it still adds additional benefit to the value of a sustainable business. So that's very nice to hear. And what I also feel in your story, and of course coming from someone who is originating as well from a marketing company, I really feel that the storytelling aspect as well adds a very specific value to going directly to your customers as well. And it's good that you keep that alive as well. Do you have any specific tips for people who want to implement this type of pre-ordering model, how they could start with it? Because for most of them, it's taking a jump as well into unclear waters.
Yeah, it's true that. For example, now we launched a first collection of wovens. Namely, we made a beautiful collection of linen pieces that are made in Europe using a sustainable fabric from India. But same story, we didn't know how it was going to sell. Are people going to buy it? Since we're a knitwear label, how is it going to evolve? So we were very, very cautious with buying in what we actually think we would sell. And then same story, it went super well. And now we made good agreements with our supplier as well with our manufacturer, saying that, okay, look, we're going for a minimum order, but if it goes well, we'll place a second order. We will make sure the fabrics can be delivered on time. We will make sure everything is ready for you to start knitting after a week or two, after we have received the collection and we know what pieces, what colors, what sizes work better than others. And that's how we now did it again for this pre-ordering system. So I think if you're a small company, this is the way that you can try at first to see how it evolves, working on a pre-ordering system. And I think from a storytelling point of view, which always works for me, especially when you're active on social, but I like to give teasers ahead. I know most companies are we're not showing a new collection until it's finally there. Sure, you can, but we don't do that. I like to already, when I'm working on a collection, I cannot hide my enthusiasm of seeing new pieces and new colors. So for me, I give a teaser and people know, and they see, oh wow, this lilac cardigan, this will be launched next spring, next summer. I need to keep this in mind. And then when you show the piece again, it's top of mind again, and they very easily buy the piece. So I think giving teasers of what is to come can also work with working with a pre-ordering system.
Yes, I think it's very relevant in any case of innovation in textiles and fashion as well. You know, this kind of, you know, going fast to the market to collect consumer data, customer feedback, so you can change the product if needed, or so you get more comfortable in launching it. So it's indeed a very smart way of doing. You can have a look on the platform Ellie.Connect as well. Maybe there's some fabric suppliers locally here who can inspire you for maybe your next testing as well. So definitely worth looking at European partners as well. But very interesting story. In any case, I'm looking at Florence. We will share the tips and tricks that were shared today with Ellen as well in a short recap on our platform, social media. So if you have not jotted everything down, don't worry, you can read it afterwards as well. So we try to keep it active, but it's very interesting to hear the story, and from my point of view, I think it all, you know, matches the whole story, which is important. And of course, it's nice to hear that there's an effective business success related to it, because this is still important for entrepreneurship as well. Ecology and economy. Okay, thank you. Before maybe we go to some general feedback or questions, we have prepared a small poll as well, some statements for the public that you can you know, select your opinion. Okay, so the first question was: is the pre-ordering a model of the future of for the future of sustainable fashion? So clearly here, 75% of yes has you know, been the biggest part here. So partly we're all believers, maybe inspired as well by the story of Ellen. Ellen, I don't know if you have any remarks here, brief comments to is this something you expect when you?
Yeah, it's something I hope most definitely. But for the smaller companies around me, I see pretty much all of them trying to work as sustainable as possible. And I see this pre-ordering model passing by more regularly. So for me, it creates an optimistic vibe that we might evolve towards more and more pre-ordering, which should be fantastic.
Okay, so if you go to the next quotes, should every brand start working with a pre-ordering model? Here you can see the results that, you know, the most of the people don't think it will fit everyone. Only 25% thinks it will. Ellen, do you agree with that? Is pre-ordering something every brand could do, or are there any difficulties we should take into account?
Yeah, I think for the bigger companies, it's impossible. The way they are structured, the way they work at this very moment is the complete opposite of what a pre-ordering model is or what it can offer. So I don't believe that it's possible for every brand, but I do believe that there are more brands, more than they can think, that can use pre-ordering more and can be more sustainable, but also more efficient and interesting cost-wise as well. So I do feel that more and more brands should take this into consideration and have a look into what pre-ordering can offer, but most definitely it will not be for everyone.
Okay, and then the last question. Eventually, slow fashion will become the norm in fashion, and I see here a clear yes from the answers. So here it's really a little bit a question of, will the fast fashion model disappear, or what will be the balance between both? So Ellen, I don't know if you have any additional insights here.
I also voted yes, since I do feel the last 10 years that I've been an entrepreneur within the slow fashion and the fair fashion business, there has been an extreme growth in what slow fashion and fair fashion should be. In the beginning, I think in Belgium, I was the only one. And now there's so many initiatives who really try and do their utter best to entrepreneur in a more slow fashion kind of way. So, and I think within a year or 20 or 30, they're actually gonna be forced to do so. We have to. So eventually, yes. Will it be in the near future? No, but we give it a few more extra years to do our utter best to inspire everyone that it is possible.
Thank you, and thank you for your insights as well. We still have another. Thank you. I propose if there are any questions left, just let us know via the platform or via an email. We're happy to connect and help where possible. So I would invite you definitely, for those who have not yet done so, to register on www.Ellie.Connect.com. and to stay tuned for our next Ellie.Talks, which will be in March, and will be on a totally different topic of how to build a circular business model in the mattress industry, but can be inspiring as well. So first of all, I would like to thank my guest Ellen Kegels for her very inspiring story about pre-ordering and slow fashion. I definitely hope for you, for all of us, that this is a trend that will grow in the future. I truly believe that. We will definitely try to help where possible. And thank you for your inspiring entrepreneurship story as well. Thank you everyone for attending today. As you know, you can rewatch the video afterwards on the platform and social media. We'll share some insights of today as well. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody.